Summer Bash had their very first big, huge announcement. Let's talk about it. But before we get on with the video, if you enjoyed the content, you can always hit that like button. You can always subscribe for weekly content. You can follow me on Twitter at LordAddictILP. Let's go ahead and get on with the video. One of the biggest things that every gamer has to look forward to is E3. E3, for those of you that doesn't know, is an event where all the publishers and all the developers come together and they really show off what they're working on next. They show off that reason that you want to invest into their company. They show off that reason that consumers want to look at their games to buy. We have had some of the biggest games happen at E3. Some of the biggest games were revealed at E3. For the longest time, that's really been the standard when it comes to these type of events. E3 was always, the best place to go, the best place to see. You make the most contacts there. And even gamers would take a week off of work just so they can make sure they watch all the conferences and they get all that information through that week of E3 consumed. But now, Jeff Keighley used to always be a key component in E3. He's been doing a lot in this industry for a very long time. But since E3 was canceled this year because of this whole, pandemic thing going on, what ended up happening is Jeff Keighley came out and he announced something called the Summer Bash. And it's pretty much an entire summer event where they're doing what was done at E3 in a longer, more duration time instead of just a week for E3. So it's looking like if this really takes off, it might replace E3 in general. But this is actually the very first big reveal that Summer Bash did that we're going to talk about today. And what they ended up doing is they really hyped this on Twitter. He even said that people needed to sleep to get this information that he was about to give the next day. So obviously, we had to watch it. And we did. And what it ended up being is the reveal of the Unreal Engine 5. Now, the demo itself that they used to show off the Unreal Engine 5 was a PlayStation, dev kit. It was ran on a PlayStation 5. And for the most part, the demo looked fantastic. There are a couple things that I would like to have seen more of, more environments. I would like to have seen what happens when you have more people on the screen. But for what we got, it was a really good demo. But that's pretty much as far as it went. I'm willing to say that the event itself, in my opinion, was just not that good. I felt like they only really had they had way more talking than they had showing the demo. And I would have preferred them to have a lot more of that gameplay from that demo to show throughout the entire time of them talking, which they did. But to me, when I looked at it, they only really showed stuff that they showed in the initial demo when they showed it at the beginning of the stream. Now, is this demo next gen? To be honest with you guys, I'm completely clueless when it comes to stuff like this. To me, it looked nice and it looked good, but I felt like, other games looked better and did more. But I don't really know what's going on. I'm not a dev. I don't know anything like that. So my approach is let's just wait and see when it comes to what this Unreal Engine 5 can do in the future. But at the end of the day, the Unreal Engine 5, it's just an engine. Everyone can use this. And Phil Spencer came out on Twitter and said that Ninja Theory is using this engine to make Hellblade 2. That's tremendous. Hellblade 2 is a very hyped game for the Xbox crowd, and for them to be using the new iteration of Unreal Engine to make this game is a huge, huge thing. But not only did Phil Spencer come out and openly say that Ninja Theory is working on Hellblade 2 with the Unreal Engine 5, which, he never technically said it was the Unreal Engine 5, but he kind of implied it. But the same day that Phil Spencer announces this, Clobro, an insider of Xbox, which, I think he hates being called the insider, and I probably butchered his name, but I'm going to read you the list of games that he knows for a fact is using Unreal Engine. We don't know what, if it's Unreal Engine 4 or 5, but I would assume some of these are going to be Unreal Engine 5 or have some kind of implications when it comes to the Unreal Engine 5. So let's go ahead and read this list. Now, Compulsion Games is the first on the list. We do know that Compulsion Games is working on a third-person adventure game. I don't know if it's an adventure or anything, but I do know it's in third person. because we had one of the members of that team on IOP, and she told us. Double Fine. Now, Double Fine is working on a variety of different stuff. Exile. So Exile is using the Unreal Engine as well. That's probably going to be, you know, their next new IP. Obviously, we have Ninja Theory because you have Hellblade 2. Mojang, Obsidian, Playground Games, rumored. So we do know that they have 3 studios. So maybe their 3rd studio is using, or maybe even the 2nd studio. Maybe the 2nd studio is using like Unreal Engine 4. Rare, the Coalition, the Initiative, which is interesting because the Initiative is such a huge, you know, studio that they're building. It's nice to know that they're using the Unreal Engine, and hopefully they're using 5. Undead Labs and the Xbox publishing thing, where, you know, they publish multiple games around the world. It's not necessarily under the Xbox Game Studios, but they're, you know, they're pretty much being published by Microsoft. So, you know, as I was saying earlier, you know, at the end of the day, the Unreal Engine 5 is just an engine. I read all these games out, all these studios, and for the most part, a few of them are probably using the new Unreal Engine. We don't know who's using it, who's not, but at the end of the day, it's like I said, it's just an engine. For instance, on here, if you notice, I never said 343 because they have their new Slipspace engine. I'm really curious to see that. But, you know, that's all I have for you guys. Definitely put in the comment section below. Tell me exactly which one of these studios that's making a game with Unreal Engine that you would be more excited for if they were using the Unreal Engine 5. I'm very curious on that. If it was me, I would probably say the Initiative if they were using the Unreal Engine 5, because I feel like as of right now, that is their best studio in terms of talent. Now, we haven't seen a game from them yet, and we definitely need to see that, but for me, it would be the Initiative. I'm curious what your guys' thought would be in the comment section below. But anyway, this is Gaming Addict. I'm out of here. Peace.
Time to see what's next.